Hello everyone, Professor Crizzluck here. So I just wanted to create a video, upload a video talking about some of the news stories that maybe we missed this week. We know that the Elon Musk versus Donald Trump fallout online spat kind of took a lot of the media attention. If you would go to the front page of the New York Times or watch CNN or MSNBC, you would have been exposed to the fight between Donald Trump and Elon Musk. But there are a lot of things that happened this week in the world that were beyond that. And of course, the Musk Trump fallout is consequential. Maybe it has some public policy ramifications, some politics ramifications, maybe some electoral politics ramifications. If Musk is going to back candidates that are against the bill, against the budget bill. And we don't really know how that's going to play out, but we do know that could have some pretty big electoral politics ramifications. So maybe understandably, or maybe to some people's frustration, that is really what took up a lot of the media attention over the past few days. But of course, other things have been going on as well. Maybe it wasn't in your front page. Maybe it wasn't in the front page of Blue Sky or Twitter or X. But we know that Donald Trump did reinstate a travel ban. So on June 4th, President Trump signed a new executive order banning entry into the United States from 12 countries and restrictions from 7 other countries. So you may remember during the first Trump administration, there was a travel ban. There were a lot of protests and civil society pushback against the travel ban the first time. We didn't see that so much this time. The first time you may have seen pictures of people going to the airport demanding that the travel ban be rescinded, people protesting in their own ways. We didn't see that as much this time, but still some pushback against the regime, but not the government, but not as much as the first time. What we have seen a lot of civil society activity is with ICE enforcement and then the protests against that enforcement. So you may have seen videos, pictures of San Diego, Los Angeles, where citizens, activists were confronting ICE agents. There were some clashes involving smoke devices. Maybe I had read some reports about flashbangs being used. The reports may have used some of this wording loosely, but the big takeaway there is we did see a pretty big protest against ICE in California. We saw police force, the LAPD come. It looked like the LAPD, at least that's what the initial reports were. I'm sure we'll find out more details over the next several days. But the big takeaway there is we didn't see big protests against the travel ban, but we have seen pretty big protests, especially in California, against ICE arrests, against ICE activity in Los Angeles and San Diego. Also, maybe something that we missed because of the Elon Musk and Donald Trump feud is that the Supreme Court granted Doge access to confidential social security records. That garnered some pushback, especially on social media, allowing Doge to have access to Americans' information. Again, we don't know a lot yet about what that means, what information they will have, what they'll do with it, where it'll be stored at. But the Supreme Court did give them that power to have that information. Also, we've been talking about the budget bill, some of the pushback that Elon Musk is generating against the budget bill. That remains stalled in the Senate. So that's still getting a lot of media attention. It's still the front page of the New York Times. If you go to the Washington Post, you'll still see a lot of articles about the budget bill, breakdowns about what the budget bill means to the wealthy, the less wealthy, what it means to Medicare, to Social Security. But that remains stalled in the Senate. Reports were that it was supposed to get voted on relatively soon. Not sure if the fight between Musk and Trump has slowed some of that down, as some members of Congress were being called out on particular pieces of the bill. For instance, there is a provision in the bill that said local governments, state governments couldn't regulate AI for like 10 years. When that was highlighted, some elected officials who had already voted for it in the House kind of came out. Marjorie Greene, one example, she came out and said, "Oh, I didn't know that was in there. I didn't like that piece of the legislation." So through reconciliation, there's a chance that some of these pieces of the bill will be taken out in the Senate, and then when it goes back to the House to get voted on, the bill will look different than the first time that House members voted for it. When we think about what's going on outside the U.S. and the international realm, of course, the Ukraine-Russia war continues today. We haven't experienced a long-term ceasefire. As we talked about in a previous video this week, Ukraine launched those pretty bold drone strikes. After that, Russia hit Kharkiv, hit Kyiv, hit multiple Ukrainian cities, and some of the biggest attacks since the start of the war. So this war continues to escalate. The Russians continue to slowly capture more territory in Ukraine. It's a very slow gaining of territory. If you look at the Institute of Modern Warfare, they have daily maps about territorial changes, and it's a very slow growth of territory that the Russians are capturing. But we see these escalating attacks. Of course, Ukraine's large-scale drone attacks in Russia, and then Russia has had some pretty devastating attacks within Ukraine, in the capital and other large cities. Maybe that doesn't get talked about as much is the Iran nuclear negotiations between the Trump administration and Iran government agencies, the supreme leader. There these peace talks trying to stop Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. The big early sticking point in these negotiations is, can there be any enrichment of uranium? The Iranians say, yes, we want a peaceful nuclear program so we can have nuclear energy. We can use nuclear energy for domestic purposes. The U.S., the Trump administration sent a bit of mixed signals. Some in the administration were saying, sure, there can be low yield enrichment that can be used for again, peaceful domestic energy purposes. Others in the administration are saying, no, there can't be any enrichment. The Iranians say, yes, we want enrichment. We are going to enrich uranium. So that is a huge early sticking point in the negotiations. So we'll see what happens over the next week, 2 weeks with that. It seems like the two sides are still pretty far apart. And we have the NATO summit scheduled for June 24th through the 26th. Why that is an interesting meeting, why we should have that on our radar, is because some Ukrainian officials will be at this meeting, which we know the Russians are saying, no way Ukraine can enter NATO. Trump administration officials are saying, no, Ukraine's not going to join NATO. We know Ukrainians are looking for security guarantees. The reality of Ukraine joining NATO is quite low, but they will have some representatives at the NATO summit. So that's the 24th to the 26th. So we'll see how that plays out. Okay, I just wanted to highlight a few interesting things that were going on domestically here in the US, as well as internationally, as the Musk-Trump feud has really taken a lot of our attention away from some of these other things. Okay, thank you.